You know that feeling, right? That deep primal rumble in your chest that arrives a full minute after the jet screams past overhead? They say you never actually hear the fastest thing in the world. You just feel the sonic boom long after it's gone. A ghost of its passage. For 32 incredible years, the SR-71 Blackbird didn't just own that legend. It was the legend. An unarmed, matte black dart that laughed in the face of more than 4,000 missiles without ever taking a single scratch. It was the ultimate can't touch this machine. Then in 1998, the program didn't just end. It vanished overnight. The hangars went dark, the crews went quiet, and the world, we, the public, we all just assumed the story was over. But what if that wasn't the final chapter at all? What if someone ripped those last pages right out of the book and replaced them with something stamped in bold, ominous red, top secret? Today, we're not just rewinding the legend. We're fast-forwarding to the machines already flying in the shadows. Some real, some so advanced they genuinely sound like something ripped straight from a sci-fi blockbuster. Forget your comfortable notions of what's possible in the skies. We're going from Mach 3 to Mach 6 and then pushing even further beyond. By the time we're done, you'll understand exactly why the sky you think you see isn't the sky they actually control. Trust me, you're going to want to buckle up for this one. The untouchable SR-71. Blackbird, all right, let's set the scene, shall we? Picture this, 1964, the desolate sun-baked expanses of Groom Lake, Nevada, out of Lockheed's legendary Skunk Works, a place where impossible dreams became terrifying realities. They wheeled out an aircraft that looked like it belonged in a different century. This wasn't just any plane. It was a marvel built almost entirely of Soviet titanium. Yes, you heard that right. American engineers buying vast quantities of a critical strategic metal from their arch-rival, the USSR, through a maze of dummy corporations and shell companies in Europe, because only that specific high-strength titanium alloy could withstand the brutal 900-degree Fahrenheit skin temperatures generated at triple-sonic speeds. Think about the audacity, the sheer geopolitical gymnastics involved in that procurement. Powering this beast were two colossal Pratt & Whitney J58 engines. These weren't just engines. Above Mach 2, they transformed into something more akin to ramjets, gulping down an astonishing 8,000 gallons of highly specialized JP7 fuel per hour. The Blackbird was so tightly engineered for high-speed flight that its fuel tanks actually leaked on the ground. They were designed to expand and seal only once the airframe heated up its speed, meaning the plane had to refuel immediately after takeoff to avoid running dry. It was an engineering compromise, a testament to the extreme demands of its mission. But once it climbed past 70,000 feet, an altitude where the sky turns a deep indigo and you can almost see the curvature of the earth, and punched through 2,200 miles per hour, nothing, and I mean nothing, could touch it. Its radar cross-section? Imagine trying to spot an eagle's eyeball from miles away. That's how small it appeared on enemy radar screens. And missiles? Forget about it. They literally ran out of fuel trying to chase a target that was moving a mile every 1.8 seconds. It was like trying to hit a bullet with another bullet. Except the first bullet was already gone. The Blackbird's operational record is simply astounding. Over 3,500 combat sorties, 942 operational missions, and 0 losses to enemy fire. Not a single plane was ever shot down. This wasn't just luck. It was a testament to its unparalleled speed and altitude. Its final glorious hurrah came in 1990, when it set 4 world speed records on its retirement tour, including the breathtaking dash from Los Angeles to Washington Dulles in a mere 64 minutes. After that, it was supposedly parked forever at the Smithsonian. Or so, at least, we were told. But as we're about to discover, the story of the Blackbird was far from over. It simply went underground, preparing for its next, faster incarnation, the vanishing. Why the SR-71 really retired. So if the SR-71 Blackbird was this untouchable, uncatchable marvel, why did it retire? The official line was a familiar cocktail. Budget cuts, the rise of satellite supremacy, and the burgeoning era of drones. And sure, there's a kernel of truth in that, but insiders, those who truly understood the game, whispered another, more complex reason. The Blackbird, for all its speed and stealth, became detectable. Not by radar, not by a missile, but by politics. Every single overflight permission it required to gather intelligence over hostile territory was a diplomatic grenade, a potential international incident waiting to explode. By the late 80s, Washington's power brokers and strategists weren't just looking for speed. They wanted invisible eyes, platforms that never needed congressional approval or the green light from a dozen foreign ministries. Satellites could stare down from orbit, absolutely, but they operated on fixed, predictable schedules. Adversaries, smart as they were, quickly learned to hide their assets and activities when they knew a spy bird was overhead. It was like a game of cosmic peekaboo. What the Pentagon really wanted was something else entirely, a platform that could sprint to any global hotspot on demand, linger for as long as needed to gather critical intelligence, and then vanish before anyone even had their first cup of coffee. Mach 3, while legendary, simply wasn't cutting it anymore. The next threshold wasn't just faster, it was a quantum leap, Mach 6. We're talking hypersonic speeds where covering a country the size of Iraq takes a mere 12 minutes, not the 40 minutes the Blackbird needed. The Blackbird, in a way, had to die so its ghost could be reborn, faster, stealthier, and crucially unmanned. It was a strategic sacrifice. This brings us to Lockheed's darkest, most secretive lab, the Skunk Works, and a project so classified that even its internal nickname is shrouded in secrecy. But the aviation world, ever eager to brand the unknown, quickly gave it a call sign: Dark Star. This wasn't just an evolution, it was a revolution. A deliberate step into a future that most of us couldn't even imagine. The stage was set for a new era of aerial dominance, where speed and stealth were redefined entirely. Darkstar Rises SR-72. Concept then in March 2013, the aviation world collectively gasped. Aviation Week and Space Technology, a publication known for its deep connections and uncanny ability to sniff out classified projects, dropped a bombshell, a single artist's impression. What it showed was breathtaking: a sleek Wave Rider body, twin tail, and most tellingly, no cockpit canopy. Why no cockpit? Because this wasn't just another plane. It was optionally piloted. The speed target, a mind-numbing Mach 6. That's twice the speed of the venerable Blackbird. Think about that for a second. The propulsion system for this beast, a turbine-based combined cycle engine. This isn't your daddy's jet engine. It's a Frankenstein's monster of aerospace engineering. Off-the-shelf jet engines for conventional takeoff and initial acceleration, morphing seamlessly into ramjets around Mach 3, and then transitioning into scramjets beyond Mach 5. Translation for us mere mortals: it can take off from a normal runway, throttle up to a staggering 4,200 Mallard Mapper, complete its mission, throttle back down, and land like a regular airplane. No rocket boosters, no mothership air launch, no complex NASA-style staging required. It's an elegant, terrifyingly efficient solution to the hypersonic challenge. The whispers grew louder, fueled by official hints. In 2017, Lockheed's vice president for advanced programs let slip a tantalizing detail to reporters. We've already built and flown a demonstrator the size of an F-22. Notice the past tense? Already built and flown. This wasn't future speculation. It was a quiet acknowledgement of a done deal. Then, in 2020, an aircraft matching Darkstar's unmistakable silhouette, albeit completely devoid of any identifying markings, was photographed at Plant 42 Palmdale, a known hub for classified aerospace development. The pieces were starting to fit together. And then Hollywood did what Hollywood does. They plastered a fictionalized version of the Darkstar all over Top Gun Maverick. The public naturally shrugged it off as just more movie magic, a cool special effect. But here's the thing. When has the Pentagon ever let accurate cutting-edge stealth shapes slip into cinema without a very specific reason? The more likely play here is psychological camouflage. Hide the real thing in plain sight, so any genuine leak just looks like PR fluff for a movie. It's brilliant, really. The bottom line is this: if that demonstrator flew way back in 2017, then an operational prototype, or perhaps even a small fleet of them, is probably circling the globe right now. They're collecting data, conducting reconnaissance, and perhaps even practicing strike profiles at 6 times the speed of sound. And just like the Blackbird, we won't hear it coming. The sky you see is definitely not the sky they control, and Darkstar is a huge reason why. It's not a question of if it exists, but what else it can do. Beyond recon, strike capability speed, as we've established, is absolutely good. It's a game changer. But speed with teeth? That, my friends, is a whole different ballgame. It elevates a reconnaissance platform into an existential threat. Leaked procurement documents, those tantalizing glimpses behind the curtain, strongly suggests that the SR-72 isn't just being engineered for intelligence gathering. It's designed with modular bays, meaning it can be reconfigured for various IMEON missions. Think about it. A recon package on Monday, gathering vital intel then with a quick swap out, a hypersonic strike missile on Tuesday, ready to deliver a precision blow. Imagine a Mach 6 aircraft, already an almost unbelievable concept, releasing a Mach 8 hypersonic glide vehicle. The combined closure rate on a naval destroyer, or a hardened command bunker, or any high-value target, is so incredibly fast that a defender might have a mere 90 seconds, maybe less, from initial detection to devastating impact. That compresses the OODA loop, the critical observe, orient, decide, act cycle, into what feels like a coffee break. There's no time to react, no time to launch countermeasures, no time to even fully comprehend what's happening. It's a strategic nightmare for any adversary. Analysts are already predicting that a single Dark Star sortie, potentially carrying multiple hypersonic weapons, could effectively replace an entire conventional strike package of slower manned fighters. Instead of needing 5 F-35s, 2 tankers, and an AWACS aircraft, you might just need one SR-72. The efficiency is staggering. Of course, such cutting-edge technology doesn't come cheap. Cost per airframe? Estimates hover around $1 billion. Yes, that's a lot of zeros. But amortize that cost against a truly global, 24-hour reach platform that can deliver precision strike or intelligence anywhere on the planet with unprecedented speed, and suddenly the math starts to look incredibly attractive to the bean counters who already bankroll $13 billion aircraft carriers. It's a new paradigm where the cost of the platform is justified by its unparalleled capability and efficiency in a high-stakes global environment. This isn't just about faster. It's about fundamentally changing the economics and strategy of warfare. 2025's real newcomers, 6th-gen fighters. While the Dark Star is busy stealing the hype cycle and dominating the whispers in aviation circles, there's another revolution quietly, or not so quietly, unfolding. The U.S. Air Force just officially announced the winner of its secretive Next Generation Air Dominance (NGAD) program, Boeing's F-47. Yes, the same company that builds the commercial airliners you fly on vacation will now build a stealth fighter that may very well never carry a human pilot on board. It's a monumental shift. The key specifications for the F-47, well, as you might expect, they're mostly classified. But the insiders, those who live and breathe this stuff, whisper of adaptive cycle engines pushing an astonishing 200 kilonewtons of thrust. That's power you can barely comprehend. They talk about integrated laser pods, not just for targeting, but for dogfight range self-defense, perhaps even as offensive weapons, and perhaps most revolutionary of all, an AI battle manager capable of quarterbacking an entire swarm of loyal wingman drones, coordinating their actions in a way no human ever could. The first flight for this technological marvel is slated for 2029, with operational deployment by 2032. We're talking about a future that's practically knocking on our door. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy isn't sitting idly by. They're running a parallel track with their FA-XX program, aiming to replace the FA-18EF Super Hornet. They're expected to pick their prime contractor this very year. A naval variant, of course, has unique requirements. Bigger wings for slower, more controlled carrier approaches, plus folding wingtips and tails to fit inside the tight confines of aircraft carrier elevators. Both services, in a rare display of inter-branch cooperation, insist their 6th-gen jets will share hardware modules, think Lego blocks with wings, to drastically slash logistics costs. If that sounds familiar, it's because the same promise was made for the F-35 program, and we all saw how that turned out. Still, the intent is there. The trend is unmistakable. And it's a profound shift. Tomorrow's air dominance is less about a single, all-conquering superplane and more about a data-linked constellation of manned, unmanned, and hypersonic assets. It's a networked ecosystem of aerial power, where individual platforms are just nodes in a much larger, more intelligent combat system. The F-47 and FA-XX aren't just planes, they're the central nervous system of that future sky. The supporting cast, jets you'll meet in 2025. But let's be clear, not every headline grabber needs to be hypersonic or a 6th-gen marvel. Some aircraft are just really good at the old-school knife fight, albeit with 21st-century upgrades. Take Russia's Sukhoi Su-57 Felon, for example. After years of development and some production hiccups, it's finally cleared full-rate production and is now popping up in export talks with countries like Iran and India, signaling its growing availability and Russia's intent to make it a player on the global stage. It's stealthy, yes, but it consciously trades some low observability for absolutely insane supermaneuverability. We're talking about pedal turns at 30,000 feet that would make an F-16 pilot blush. It's designed to dogfight to outturn anything in its path, bringing a different philosophy to air combat. Over in China, the Chengdu J-20 Mighty Dragon is also maturing rapidly. It now mounts domestically produced WS-15 engines, finally giving it true supercruise capability without relying on afterburners, a huge leap in performance and efficiency. Plus, it boasts a belly bay big enough to stash a 4,000-pound hypersonic missile, making it a formidable long-range strike platform as well as an air superiority fighter. China isn't just catching up. They're innovating with their own unique blends of stealth, speed, and firepower. On the Western ledger, the Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II, the backbone of many Allied air forces, is entering fleet service with its Block 4 upgrade this year. This isn't just a minor tweak. It's a substantial upgrade featuring double the computing power, a brand new radar element for enhanced situational awareness and targeting, and crucially, the much-maligned Autonomic Logistics Information System, ALIS, is finally being replaced by an open architecture cloud system. Translation: pilots can now plug in a gaming-style joystick and push software updates the way your phone gets them overnight. This makes the F-35 far more adaptable and easier to maintain, addressing some of its biggest early criticisms. Also entering the dance, and bringing a healthy dose of brute force, is Boeing's F-15EX Eagle II. It's not stealthy, it doesn't even pretend to be, but what it lacks in stealth, it makes up for in sheer payload and reach. It can carry an astonishing 22 air-to-air missiles. That's more than an entire Vietnam War flight combined. And it can fling hypersonic weapons 100-200 miles without even needing to refuel. Sometimes in the complex chess game of air combat, brute force delivered with precision and speed is the most elegant solution of all. These planes, while not always the flashiest, are the workhorses and heavy hitters that will define air power in the coming years. Drones that refuel, jam, and decide let's zoom out a bit from the pure fighters, because the future of air power isn't just about what flies, but what supports it. And in that realm, drones are rapidly becoming indispensable. Take the MQ-25 Stingray, for instance. This isn't just another drone. It's the first unmanned tanker to qualify for operations on an aircraft carrier. And it's a game changer. Picture this: a drone giving 14,000 pounds of fuel to an F-35 500 miles from the ship. That effectively triples the fighter's combat radius, extending its reach deep into enemy territory, all while freeing up the manned Super Hornets that used to double as airborne gas stations. It's a massive force multiplier, but the Stingray's mission isn't stopping there. The next iteration is slated to add electronic warfare pods, transforming this unassuming tanker into a standoff jammer. Imagine, one Stingray can now refuel an entire strike package and fry enemy radars on the way home. It's not just support. It's active participation in the battle space, complicating the enemy's air defenses while extending the reach of our own. Meanwhile, on the international stage, Turkey is making waves with its Bayraktar Kızıl Elma, a name that literally translates to red apple in Turkish folklore, symbolizing a national ideal or goal. This is a stealth-shaped unmanned combat aircraft that promises carrier-style operations from short-deck amphibious ships. It's designed to land vertically using AI-controlled vectored thrust, and it can carry a formidable payload of hypersonic anti-ship missiles. Analysts are calling it the poor man's NGAD, because at around $30 million apiece, it's about 1/10 the projected cost of the F-47. If you're a smaller navy with a big, aggressive neighbor, that kind of cost-effectiveness flips the concept of deterrence completely on its head. Suddenly, sophisticated aerial power isn't just for the superpowers. Drones like these are democratizing aerial warfare, making advanced capabilities accessible to a wider range of players, and that changes everything. The secret sauce: hypersonics and AI. What ties all these incredible platforms together? What's the invisible thread weaving through the Blackbird's legacy, Darkstar's promise, and the 6th-gen fighter's future? 2 words, my friends: hypersonics and artificial intelligence. These aren't just buzzwords. They are the fundamental pillars of 21st century air dominance, two sides of the same rapidly accelerating coin. Hypersonic glide vehicles and missiles compress geography. They shrink the vast distances of our planet, turning hours into minutes and minutes into mere seconds. A target that once felt safe behind hundreds of miles of ocean or land is now potentially vulnerable to an attack that arrives almost before it's detected. This isn't just about speed. It's about fundamentally altering the concept of distance and reaction time. And AI? Artificial intelligence compresses decision time. Modern air combat is less about the thrilling, visceral dogfighting of Top Gun, and more about algorithmic chess played at 100,000 feet. The aircraft that wins isn't necessarily the one with the fastest pilot, but the one that can train a machine learning model on the outbound leg of a mission, seamlessly update it mid-flight when new intelligence drops, and launch a weapon before the adversary's firewall even finishes a security scan. It's a battle of processing power and predictive analytics. Does that sound scary? Absolutely it is. It introduces a level of automation and speed that pushes the boundaries of human comprehension and control. But it's also why every major global power is pouring billions, and I mean billions, into digital infrastructure, into machine learning, into data fusion, long before the first piece of exotic titanium ever gets cut for a new airframe. The 2025 battle space isn't just in the air or on the ground. It's already largely in the cloud. It's a digital war, fought by algorithms, and the physical platforms are merely the executors of those lightning-fast decisions. The future of warfare is being written in code, and the implications are profound. If your head is spinning from all this future tech, and honestly, whose isn't? Then do me a favor, smash that like button. It's how the algorithm knows you want more deep dives like this, and drop a comment below with the one aircraft you think will actually fly operationally first. Darkstar, the F-47, or maybe something we haven't even named yet. Let's hear your predictions. The economics of speed. All right, let's talk brass tacks because all this incredible speed and technology comes with a price tag. And it's not small. So how much does speed really cost? Let's run some quick numbers to put things into perspective. An SR-71 Blackbird hour back in 1990 cost an eye-watering $200,000. And that wasn't just fuel. That was everything. The specialized maintenance, the dedicated KC-135 tanker support, the highly trained crew rest cycles, the works. It was a premium experience, to say the least. Fast forward to today, an F-22 Raptor, the pinnacle of fifth-generation air superiority, runs about $70,000 per flight hour. Its younger, more versatile cousin, the F-35, comes in a bit cheaper, around $36,000 an hour. Now, estimates for the SR-72 Darkstar hover near $150,000 per flight hour. At first glance, that sounds expensive, maybe even prohibitive. But here's where the economics get interesting, and where the bean counters in the Pentagon start to perk up. Remember, the SR-72 isn't just replacing a single aircraft. It's designed to replace an entire strike package. Think about it, instead of 5 F-35s, 2 tankers and an AWACS aircraft all operating together, you might just need one SR-72. Add up the operational costs of that conventional package, and you're easily looking at $300,000 an hour, plus the inherent risk to multiple human pilots. From that perspective, the economics of hypersonic flight suddenly start to look not just sane but incredibly attractive. It's a paradigm shift in cost-effectiveness. The same math applies to the upcoming 6th-generation fighters. Yes, there's an undeniable upfront sticker shock. These are incredibly complex machines. But when one platform can perform the mission of 6, or integrate with a swarm of drones to achieve superior effects, the life cycle cost drops dramatically. Congress might still wince at the initial investment, but the financial strategists inside the Pentagon are already shifting line items, understanding that the long-term efficiency and strategic advantage far outweigh the initial outlay. Speed in this new era isn't just about getting there faster, it's about getting there more efficiently, more decisively, and ultimately more cost-effectively. It's a hard truth, but it's the reality of modern military procurement, the unseen enemy, counter-hypersonics. Here's a timeless truth about warfare. Every weapon breeds a counter-weapon. It's an arms race without end, a constant game of technological leapfrog. And hypersonics, for all their terrifying speed, are no exception. The U.S. Army's Thadair, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, Extended Range, and the Navy's Glide Phase Interceptor (GPI) programs are promising to develop the capabilities needed to swat these hypersonic threats out of the sky. But here's the rub. They need eyes that can track objects moving at Mach 10. Objects that literally bend radar beams with plasma sheaths generated by the extreme heat of their passage. It's like trying to track a ghost in a hurricane. The answer, or at least the leading contender for one, lies not on Earth but in space. We're talking about a vast network of space-based infrared sensors and low-orbit mesh satellites. These aren't just observing. They're designed to triangulate the heat plumes of hypersonic weapons in real time, with incredible precision. Downlink that torrent of data to an AI fire control system, and suddenly you have a chance. But even with all that technology, you're still looking at maybe 300 seconds, 5 minutes, from launch detection to potential impact. It's the modern equivalent of the 1960s missile gap, that terrifying period when the US and USSR raced to build intercontinental ballistic missiles. Except this time, the gap isn't measured in years of development or numbers of warheads. It's measured in seconds. The decision window for retaliation or defense is shrinking to an almost unbearable degree. Whoever solves that tracking problem first, whoever can reliably detect, track, and intercept these Mach 10 threats, will dictate the next 50 years of air dominance and, indeed, global strategic stability. It's a race against time with the highest possible stakes, and it's happening right now far above our heads. Pilot's perspective. What it feels like, you know. For all the incredible technology, the numbers, the strategic implications, sometimes it's the human element that truly brings it home. I recently had the privilege of speaking with a former Blackbird pilot, a true legend, call sign Bandit, and I asked him, what did Mach 3 feel like? His response was immediate, and he just laughed, a genuine, hearty chuckle. More like the world's quietest roller coaster, he told me. You're up above 90% of the atmosphere. The sky is black and you can see stars at noon. The only sound you hear is your own heartbeat and maybe the faint hum of the environmental controls. He described the sheer physical experience. The jet stretches 9 inches longer in flight because of the heat, so you could actually feel the cockpit panels buckle slightly against your suit. You felt like you were riding inside a living, breathing thing, an extension of your own body. It's a perspective that grounds the almost mythical status of the Blackbird. It was a machine, yes, but it was also an experience, a triumph of human ingenuity and courage. Now imagine Dark Star pilots, if indeed any humans are ever regularly aboard that machine, experiencing Mach 6. The G-forces build gradually during cruise, but rapid turns or evasive maneuvers would subject the human body to sustained 4G for minutes, not just seconds. That's an immense physiological strain, pushing the limits of what even the most highly trained human can endure. And this precisely is why there's such an aggressive push for optional manning. Let the AI handle the brutal, physically demanding physics of hypersonic flight, the precise calculations, the minute adjustments. Let the human brain, with its unparalleled capacity for creative problem solving, for cheating within the rules, for adapting to unforeseen circumstances, handle the strategic oversight. Machines still can't replicate that nuanced, intuitive brilliance. The future of flight, especially at these extreme speeds, is becoming a delicate yet powerful dance between human intuition and artificial intelligence. The geopolitical chessboard. The 2023 conflict in Ukraine offered some stark, undeniable lessons for the world's militaries. One of the most significant was this: drones can swarm, they can inflict damage, and they can certainly complicate the battlefield. But they can't, at least not yet, hold airspace against peer-level integrated air defenses. That's a critical distinction, and it's precisely why every regional power, from Asia to Europe, is now rushing to field something, anything, that can punch a hole through layers of sophisticated anti-access area denial, A2AD systems like Russia's S-400s or China's HQ-22s. Japan, for instance, isn't just sitting back. They're actively transforming their venerable F-15Js into hypersonic truckers, adapting them to carry and launch advanced long-range missiles. South Korea is testing its own AI wingman drones, integrating them into their existing fighter fleets. And Australia, always a forward-thinking player, just flew its loyal wingman prototype, now called the MQ-28 Ghost Bat, across the Pacific autonomously, demonstrating the reach and reliability of unmanned combat air vehicles. The race isn't just for individual technological superiority, not just for speed or stealth, but for integration. The real game changer is, who can seamlessly mesh legacy 4th-generation jets, cutting-edge stealth 5th-generation fighters, and advanced unmanned 6th-generation assets into one cohesive lethal orchestra? The nation or alliance that masters this complex symphony of networked air power will be the one that sets the rules. They'll dictate the terms for future Taiwan contingencies, for showdowns in the Persian Gulf, and for the increasingly vital strategic gambits in the Arctic. This isn't just about hardware. It's about the software, the data links, and the strategic vision to wield them as one irresistible force. The geopolitical chessboard is being redrawn in the sky, and the pieces are moving faster than ever before. The dark horses, airplanes. We aren't naming now for every program we openly gossip about. For every official announcement or tantalizing leak, there are undoubtedly 3 more living deep behind the impenetrable Special Access Program, SAP curtain. These are the projects so secret, so cutting edge that their very existence is a whisper, a rumor, a ghost in the machine. Industry insiders, those with ears to the ground in the aerospace world, hint at an SR-73 already on test cards, a successor to the Dark Star that pushes the boundaries even further. We're talking about combined cycle turbo rocket engines that propel an aircraft far beyond Mach 8, perhaps even into low Earth orbit. Another whisper speaks of a flying wing, no vertical surfaces at all, a truly radical design that can loiter at Mach 2 for 6 hours, dropping hypersonic payloads with the stealth of a B-21 bomber, but with the added capability of landing on an aircraft carrier. Think about the strategic implications of that kind of reach and flexibility. Are these real? Maybe. Probably. But here's a crucial historical lesson we often forget. The F-117 Nighthawk, the world's first operational stealth fighter, flew its first flight in 1981. The public didn't even see it until 1988, and it was already combat-proven by then. That's a full 7 years of invisible bombing sorties, missions conducted in plain sight of the enemy, yet unseen by the world. If history is any guide, if the past is prologue, then something even wilder, even more revolutionary, is already turning laps over the Nevada desert under a moonless sky. It's out there, pushing the boundaries of what we believe is possible, and it's doing it in complete silence, shrouded in secrecy. The future of aviation isn't just coming. It's already here. We just don't know its name yet. Want to dive even deeper into the black projects that might still be hidden from plain sight? Then hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next expose on America's missing Mach 10 bomber. Because trust me, the story doesn't end here. Not by a long shot. Preparing for the inevitable. So what does all this incredible, terrifying, and utterly fascinating technological advancement mean for the rest of us? For the average citizen? For policymakers? For anyone trying to make sense of a rapidly changing world? First, and perhaps most critically, the era of mutually assured destruction now extends firmly into hypersonic timeframes. The decision windows for nations to react, to retaliate, or even to de-escalate are shrinking from hours to mere minutes, sometimes even seconds. This dramatically increases the risk of hair-trigger miscalculations, where a defensive launch could be mistaken for an offensive one, with catastrophic consequences. The world becomes a much more volatile, hair-raising place. Second, the skills gap is widening at an alarming rate. Tomorrow's ace pilots won't just be stick and rudder jockeys. They'll be data scientists who understand vector math, machine learning algorithms, and network topology far more intimately than they understand barrel rolls or G-loads. The human-machine interface becomes paramount, and the cognitive demands on those operating these systems will be immense. It's a shift in what it means to be an airman. Finally, deterrence itself is becoming opaque. If your adversary can't see the weapon, if they don't know it exists, or if they can't track it, then how can they truly fear it? How can it deter them? Paradoxically, this new era of stealth and secrecy makes transparency, or at least a carefully managed version of it, more valuable, not less. Expect more staged leaks, more deliberately blurred satellite photos finding their way onto public forums, more accidental sightings by airline captains reporting strange objects. The new stealth isn't just about invisibility. It's about ambiguity. It's about keeping your enemies guessing, making them constantly wonder what you have, where it is, and what it can do. It's a psychological game played on a global scale. So here we stand, caught in the exhilarating, slightly terrifying space between the legend we knew, the indomitable SR-71 Blackbird, and the legacy we can only glimpse, a future sketched in the shadows. Darkstar, the F-47, and whatever other incredible machines Skunkworks engineers are sketching on napkins at 2 a.m. The SR-71 proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that speed is life in the skies. Its heirs, the machines of today and tomorrow, are proving that hypersonics plus artificial intelligence equals absolute dominance. The battlefield itself is expanding vertically, from sea level to the very edge of space, and horizontally from the limitations of human reflexes to machine learning cycles measured in milliseconds. Whether you're a taxpayer footing the bill, a policymaker grappling with these immense strategic shifts, or just a kid building model airplanes in your bedroom, one truth remains immutable. The sky isn't the limit anymore. It's just the starting line. And the next time you hear a distant, unexplained boom with no plane in sight, remember what we talked about today. Remember that the future of air power might already be leaving you behind, silently at Mach 6 and beyond. Thanks for watching. Seriously, share this video with that one friend who still thinks Mach 3 is fast, and I'll see you in the next story that hasn't been cleared for public release yet.